Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today is Wnr509. It's NXT Update Vengeance Day. I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
Thank you for making the switch. Yeah, I'm doing good. Always excited to be back. I honestly believe that we're gonna have to revisit my godshiphood when it comes to NXT at some point because I'm watching so much of it. I've been enjoying it. It's on the rocks because I know if it's anybody that's why I love this show. If it's anybody I know who got just as much NXT history, I've been hearing conversations about the different eras of NXT and all of that. Now, I would pose that question to you at some point when it comes to this. But if it's anybody I know that got just as much knowledge or just as much appreciation for what we've been through on this long road that NXT is you. So it's always fun to do this with another person who have been someone who's been a long time, enjoyer of NXT just like me. So these are my favorite times of the month, man.
Yeah, without doubt, I love the update. And again, it's crazy to think that I've been doing this for nearly 10 years now. Like,
Yeah.
original Samoa Joe. I mean, don't get me wrong. One of my favourite moments on the podcast ever is us when we did the Samoa Joe, like, promo reading, whatever it was. You know, that was fantastic. And like I said, update, NXT and the update has changed so much, even though we've still got the kind of base of what we've always done. But it's going to be fun. We've got 5 episodes and, of course, Vengeance Day. But we're going to start with news and injuries because we ended the last update talking about Cora Jade. And it was confirmed she suffered a torn ACL from that NXT house show. So she's going to be out a very long time. Monty, this is devastating for someone who's only just returned.
Yeah, and it's, like you said, it's just one of those things that happens sometimes that's very unfortunate. Like you said, for someone who had a lot, I honestly think that she probably would be. Now, I don't know if she would be the one to dethrone Lyra, but she would have been a great heel person to throw Lyra in the ring with, maybe even possibly dethroning her at some point. Because of we know that again, it's kind of like we talk about Roxanne. When Roxanne came in. Roxy seemed like she was going to be one of the people that NXT Women's Division ran through. She's still a very important part of it, but, like we mentioned, not as much as maybe me and you thought. And then I think the same thing can be said with Cora J. A lot of it has to do with, maybe, just needing to be more seasoned, but also now we have an injury here and, like I said, just returning, seemingly like she was going to be in that top villain role. And, now she's injured again. It's very, very unfortunate because I thought that she seemed to be both times she's kind of leaned into this mean girl, but not necessarily Tiffany Stratton style mean girl aesthetic. Anytime that she's kind of leaned into that being that person, she's been at least a joy, in my opinion, to watch for the most part. So, and the thing is about NXT, when you got these serious injuries like this, it sucks because I think me and you both know that we talk about it with Trick Williams and a lot of other characters so far in our time reviewing together. Like NXT is all about progression and watching these people grow. And the only way they get better a lot of times is being in the ring, being on television, being involved in things. So to get more time stripped away from her at this time it's already a young career and it's an important time in her career, it's really unfortunate. It really sucks, but I just wish her the best on the road to recovery and all of that. It's always tough with these ACLs. I think Charlotte is like post 6 weeks, and she's being a genetic freak and already standing and working out and just being a super athlete. So I don't think everybody can recover to that extent, but yeah, man, I just wish her the best because rehab is always tough when it comes to injuries like an ACL and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, it's a long road. It's tough, but I think she'll be back stronger because you just got to keep going.
Yeah, I think the problem is though, we talk about injuries and development as well, and someone like Tegan Knox, who now is on the main roster but suffered
Perfect example though.
Like I said, 3 massive injuries, and maybe you're not kind of as hot as you were at that point in time. So It's kind of like a rebuild phase. And also, we're going to talk about another superstar who's had an injury, Nikita Lyons, of course.
Right.
Came away, been away for a long time, has returned, which I think we'll see on this update, and then has been injured again, which is just a horrible situation. But it's going to take time for this talent to kind of find their character, and with these injuries, just make it even worse.
Exactly. It's like I said, Tegan Knox is a perfect example because I still think she's kind of trying to, like you said, find herself or pick herself up from those injuries, those injuries that took her out. So yeah, man, it's really, really tough, and it's always unfortunate. Nikita, like you just mentioned, only had like a couple matches, and then now seemingly will be out for a while again. It's just like you said, you hate when that happens, when you get the injury bug. And like I said, it's really vital in this stage of these people's career because of, again, I just feel like week to week, if you watch some of the people that we're gonna see on this update, week to week, you can see the progression. We talk about a Lash Legend or something. Imagine if Lash Legend, when she was more unexperienced and before she's kind of developed into what she's becoming now. Imagine if she gets hurt early. Like, look at all that progress that you lose that she's been able to pick up, but because she's been healthy and being able to work with Metaphor and doing all that other stuff. So again, it's tough, man. It's really, really tough. But I wish them all the best because it's one of those things that is a part of this game, but we all hate to see it.
Without a shadow of a doubt, we wish them well in their recovery. But we're going to get on with the update, and we last left NXT with the Dushty Classic halfway through the first round matches, which was Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin, or the Wolf Dogs, beating Gallus, and Axiom and Nathan Fraser beating Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. So on tonight's show, we got Chase U, Duke Hudson, Riley Osborne versus the LWO, and of course Carmella Hayes and Trick Williams versus Blade and Anofi. So let's get to it. January 16th, we start off with the Trick Mello Gang versus Anofi and Blade. Of course, NXT used the combined theme for Trick and Mello, and Booker was not happy. I mean, even the crowd, again, we're going to get onto it as we move on, but again, it was cheers for Trick and people wanted to sing, and then boos for Mello. And Mello's got a great theme, it's just
right. It's a good song. Yeah, exactly. Like, the entrance is a big part of what Trick has going. So to kind of take away from that, yeah, it was distracting. It was one of them things you can almost blame it on Mello. Like, you wouldn't have forced him into this team. We could do our chant.
Well, this is the thing. So we're going to get into the action, and Anofi and Blade wore yellow and black polka dot themed gear in honor of Dusty, and they looked phenomenal against Trick and Mello. But Trick will not be denied. He picked up the win with a flash knee, and we've spoken about, of course, Anofi and Blade. They're a great team, but there's no way they're going to win this. But it's a great way to start NXT.
Yeah. I think, as a matter of fact, as we go in these episodes, a couple of times, every time they've been on my screen as far as wrestling in their type of matches and their style, I think the sky can be the limit for Blade and Anofi. But yeah, like you said, they were definitely up against it here. Trick and Mello, with all the momentum that they have and just the actual storyline focus. Yeah, man, they were up against it. They didn't have much of a chance at all. But it was definitely a fun ride, man. It was 4 athletes just jumping out of the. I know in basketball they have a phrase when guys jump high and dunk high or whatever. They're like jumping out of the gym. That's exactly what we had going on in that match, man. They were doing their thing. So I do think it made Blade and Anofi look good, but yeah, not a chance of winning. Not a chance.
Well, backstage, Tatum Paxley warned Lopez and Vice that she would stop them from ever touching her champion. She promised to win the Battle Royal to protect Valkyrie. New champion Femi told the NXT Universe he had reached his destiny as North American champ. Dragon Lee challenged him to a rematch at Vengeance Day, but Femi refused to accept and said the open challenge was closed. Backstage, Lee Dragunov told Trick he would face him for the NXT Championship at Vengeance Day. Mello reminded Trick that the Dushty Classic final was on the same night. And then we see Tatum Paxley teaming up with Lyra Valkyria to beat Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. Paxley arrived in full matching gear to the Valkyrie. She kept her promise to protect Lyra and took the brunt of the offense. Again, this pairing we're going to talk about as it goes on. I love this kind of stuff because it is the kind of crazy cheerleader in a way, but we know where it's going, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You already probably know the end goal or how the end result, but it definitely can still be a fun ride. You know, there's always a hidden element of will, Lyra accept and embrace, Tatum, or will she get pushed away until Tatum turn? Will they get braced and then somebody turns? Like what's gonna happen? But it's always a fun ride, and I think what I like the most about it is the development, the extra element is giving not only Lyra, is giving her something to add to her as a character and her personality, but it also has given Tatum a start, and I think we talk about we know what Mickey James is now, but I think a lot of people who watch her now probably don't even have a clue about how we were introduced to a Mickey James. But you see what I'm saying? Like Paxton can always this is always be a great way. Like I said, I remember what she was doing, trying to be with Ivy now and trying to do that. But this is way more memorable already, just as who she is as a character. We find out a lot more about her just from chasing around Lyra, and I'm interested too. That's one thing about it. It's been an interesting ride, and I think right now they're playing their cards perfectly. We'll see if they can keep the momentum.
Well, Fallon Henley promised to make the most of the opportunity later. Aragona Grace cleared out the women's locker room. She talked herself up. Ridge Holland beat Little Joe Coffey. Gallus beat him up after, and no one cared. NXT Anonymous caught JC Jane continue a plan to save Chase U with the women of the university. Jordan tried to focus on setting a future while talking with Brendan Reese. Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin argued over the tag team name in the latest interview. Of course, it would be the Wolf Dogs. And in Dushty Classic, LWO beat Chase U. And I will say, seeing Zelina Vega on NXT brings back too many bad memories. But it just goes to show how good the LWO are. It's weird, isn't it? Like, we see them on SmackDown, and then we think, oh no, we remember the Legado of old.
I agree. And I think a lot of times what's so far for me, and I want to know if this is how you feel, a lot of times for me, especially with a group like Legado, you get a chance or at least a little bit of insight of just, to me, it shows me it's so many more moving parts on the main roster. So sometimes you get overlooked almost just in general because you don't have much time to do what they do. But as soon as they go back to NXT, they're immediately allowed to cook and look like stars or potential stars. And I just think in my opinion, that kind of is because of the difference in scale of the rosters a lot of time. But yeah, LWO, man, you know how me and you both know, anybody who's been privy to be able to watch NXT and watch what Legado was before they went to the main roster, you knew that these guys could go in the ring. And I think putting them back in the Dushty Classic, even if you were wondering, oh, okay, why are they down? I knew immediately that we're going to get top quality stuff because that's just what they do when they've been given a chance to do their thing. So yeah, man, this is a bright spot. And but again, I think to me it just really showcased. Yeah, man, I think Triple H almost have too much going on in the main roster to give everyone the spotlight that they would deserve. So when they go to NXT, it's everyone for the most part who's been doing double feels like a bigger deal on NXT.
Well, if you're watching NXT for a little while, you will know that Dijak really hates Native Americans. This time, picking on Trey Bearhill. Now, Monty, does he know they're different people? Or does he just think, I'm not sure what they're doing. Bearhill's power surprised Dijak, but Hard Justice still knocked him out with Discus Big Boot for the win. So, Dijak hates Native Americans, but picks up a victory. It's good and bad.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't necessarily think he knows the difference, to be honest. I think they merged together in his head.
If his next fuse to Tanker, we are
yeah, he gonna find the Tanker out of nowhere, or he just out of nowhere rips a picture of Chief J Strongbow or something. Like, wow, that was random.
Yeah. Well, afterwards, Lexis King beat down Bearhill and told him to stay out of his business. Joe Gacy joined commentary for the match. putting over the action. When Dijak got in his face, Gacy headbutted the heel, and they brawled to the back afterwards. Von Wagner told Mr. Stone he would win gold in 2024 and challenge Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup. It's like they heard us. Also, don't you fucking dare. JBL found Josh Briggs backstage and told him to become his own man and not just to follow in his footsteps. Drew Gulak made no quarter catch crew go back to basics. They also announced a catch clause in their contracts. A catch is just too many times. I'm going to keep calling them like the no catch court crew. But we'll see what happens. I mean, if only it was another name, like a combat club. But
right.
You know what I mean?
Only. I was just about to ask you, is this another deal where Sean, like we accuse Sean of possibly watching New Japan? Do you think he peaked at a collision or something? I don't know.
Well, the next match was number one contender, Battle Royal and Fatal 4-Way. The family, though, who will only wrestle once this entire update, talked up Adriana Rizzo before a match. She and Jada Parker got into it, and each got eliminated. Lola Vice eliminated Alexia Lopez. Tatum Paxley then took out Vice. Vice and Lopez brawled to the back in quite a surprise. That was a quick turn. You know, we talk about like months. We're going to talk about as well, like partners turning each other. It took one elimination in a Battle Royal. Like, come on, we're better than that, surely.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't take much, but I think the thing is, they didn't do a good job of kind of showing us that they were going to turn on each other. But we both knew that when Electra was talking about cash in, why don't you cash it in for a tag team? You know what? That was right there when I figured out that, you know what, this probably wasn't going to last.
Well,
but
Carmen Petrovic kicked Blair Davenport out of the action. Davenport made her pay afterwards with a knee strike. Grace eliminated her and celebrated like she won the match, which was a really good moment. But Thea Hale sent her packing. Ren Sinclair replaced the injured Cora Jade and made it to the final 5, but she was eliminated by Lash Legend. James took her out as well. The final 4 were Roxanne Perez, Fallon Henley, Kiana James, and Kalani Jordan. Can I just say, I've not struggled with so many new names since we first started doing like the Japan shows. Do you know what I mean? Like the amount of new names.
Yeah.
Ren Sinclair and Charlotte Jordan. There's Jordan and a James. So I apologise if this is not my best work. But, give me some time. Again, Izzy Dame saved James from Jordan. Perez caught Jordan with Pop Rocks to steal the 3 count and win. And then Lyra Valkyria arrived to stare her next challenger down. What I will say is, where did this Rocks win come from? And also, the match itself. I mean, how did they get the idea to get a Battle Royal and then turn it into a Fatal 4-Way?
I wonder if it was a big event, that did a Battle Royal one day, and then the next day they did a 4-Way with the last 4 members. I don't know if you recall that event. I don't know if we reviewed it recently or not, but interesting idea, man. Sean is very creative.
Yeah, he's got all these ideas.
This was good though. I didn't mind it. This was good. I like the sprint. I like the drama of it all at the end. It was nice and dramatic. And I'm with you. I definitely didn't see a big victory from. Did not see a big victory from Rox coming because I just felt like, which we'll talk about more because she's still kind of going through it. I just felt like she was in a transitional period when it comes to who she is right now. So I didn't think that a big victory and getting a number 1 contender spot, especially right now with Lyra, I didn't think that would be next. But hey, I wasn't opposed to it because it was nice and dramatic. And it was a cool finish, so I didn't mind it. And the one thing about it that made me be like, you know what? I'm going to stop complaining and just enjoy it because I knew at the end we're going to get Rox and Lyra in some way. And I just know if they're given time, the what I was projecting was a really good match. So, yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt, really good stuff. Move on to January 23rd and the Dusty semis. Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin versus Nathan Fraser and Axiom. Corbin came out with a wolf head that Breakker famously wore at No Mercy for his match against Corbin. And I'll tell you something as well. If Corbin keeps being this entertaining, then I'm not only going to get over with me, he's going to get over with the people soon, and no one saw that.
No one wants that, right?
No.
Or guess what? He's gonna do so well. He's gonna get called up again.
Yeah.
we don't want main roster
be
Corbin.
Successful. Yeah, successful Corbin. Come on, what's this?
What the hell going on?
Well, I tell you what, Corbin and Breakker look closer than ever as they wrestled in a tight-knit unit. There needs to be destroyers to take down Fraser and Axiom, and they did just that, finishing with a Breakker spear on Fraser. Like I said, Baron hasn't looked good in years. This was a fantastic opener, and again, it annoys me because people might be surprised, but they're going against Axiom and Fraser, and we know how good they are.
Yeah, yeah. We look, and that's one thing I do love from my vantage point. It's been nice for not only to watch people who don't know much about the NXT UK guys, or like the Axioms and Fraser, or like they don't know much about. Now it's always cool to see people be like, "Wow, that guy's pretty good," or he's awesome, or whatever. But it's really cool to see that other people are noticing what me and you are noticing. Like we mentioned on the last NXT pod, how much better and how much more comfortable. And the fact I heard backstage that Corbin is just he did not look at this as a demotion, and you can tell. Like some people may have went to NXT in the past and may have took it easy, or thought it was exactly thought they were getting downgraded. He has treated it like it's not a downgrade. He's taking it in stride. And I really, really have to give props to Corbin, because this was a side of him that honestly I don't think I didn't think he had it in him. I honestly didn't even know if he had this side of him in him. Not just the wrestling, but just the amount of belief. My problem with Corbin, a lot of that had to do with the booking, because he was asked to do a lot of ridiculous stuff. So I'm not going to blame him too much. But a lot of times with Corbin, a lot of stuff fell flat because you just didn't know if he really cared about it, or what he was doing was so stupid that you couldn't take it seriously. Now, in my opinion, with this Wolf Dog stuff, even the goofy stuff, elements of their team has been fun to watch. It's been good to see that side of Braun. It's been also awesome to just see the in-ring work and work rate. Like, imagine, did you really think about what you think about A-Kid, or think about Axiom and Frazier, and then put them in the ring with Baron Corbin? What we used to think of Baron Corbin, you will automatically think, oh, this is gonna be boring. It's gonna be a downgrade, no matter who he works with. But he is picking up his game to where it's like, oh no, he's gonna not only be able to do his thing, he's being able to put over the other guys and make them look believable also. So I just really gotta give him props, because he really could have just phoned it in. He's still getting paid main roster money, and now he's just only in Florida. And from what I'm hearing, with his backstage attitude and all of that, he's enjoying it, and he's been giving us good products so we can enjoy it too. So this has been great. I love what they've been doing as a team.
And it's weird as well talking about Corbin, because it's like he's had to prove himself to the crowd, or you know what I mean, like even the fans themselves. Like you said, with Bron, it's like, oh, we know what stock he's from, like Steiner's and all that lot. He's accepted, but with Bowen, he's come back now and just shown that he's not the kind of like American footballer, doesn't care. And he's got the passion, and like I said, this team is really, really good. And another shocking thing happened as well, not just a good Baron Corbin match, but William Regal returned to NXT to speak with Shawn Michaels, and then confirmed Ava as the youngest general manager in WWE history. I mean, holy shit. Nice. I mean, William Regal back, and Ava as general manager. Two big developments there, I think.
Yeah, man, it was awesome to see William, because anytime he pops up, especially in NXT, it's always nice to see him. And again, I can't wait. Honestly, since he's not in this role, it had me thinking of a couple of things. But congratulations to Ava. It was really, really cool to see her get that spot, because she's basically been doing it unofficially, I guess, for a little while anyway, since she went into Sean's office. And I think she mentioned, Heyman kind of gave her, or a wise man gave her advice or whatever, when it came to doing things like that. But I don't mind it at all. I've been hearing dueling reasons why this happened, as far as like Ava's in-ring work and having leg problems or knee injuries. And she didn't, maybe they're trying to push her to a more just on-screen type of format instead of being in the ring. I don't know if that means her career is over or not. Either way it goes, I don't mind her in this spot. I think this is really cool. And to have someone, like you mentioned, so young, to have someone who basically peers with these people in a management position is an interesting It's just an interesting way to do the authority figure type of deal. And so far, she hasn't gotten her hands involved or showed any favoritism. But you never know. Like, to have someone so young and have someone, like I said, who are just equals with a lot of these people. Will we see her, take advantage of her spot at some point? It's possible. So I just think that's kind of cool. What's up?
I was say either that or like literally we'll just see her be like, oh, general manager didn't work out. She's the ring announcer. Oh, she's gonna work commentary.
Yeah,
she's on the like literally just
wear every hat.
Is The Rock still a part of it? Like, yeah, she's doing the drinks down at the bar.
Yeah, exactly. Or this could be very, very awesome if she kills it, or we see her doing every wrestling related job. She's on the bump. She's hosting the bump.
Oh, she's doing the kickoffs. That's a new job. Brilliant.
Right.
Yeah,
awesome. Cool.
No, good luck. Like I said, I was obviously, it's something there. And speaking of something there, Lash legend beating Ren Sinclair. Afterwards, Fallon Henley ran out to save Sinclair for beatdown. OTM destroyed the restaurant of the family, including Parker laying out Rizzo. Tony D stacks Rizzo warned they would get revenge. Speaking of messes, Lopez made a mess backstage, demanding someone tell her where Vice is. I mean, who is doing all the cleaning up? Is it a team of people? Is it just one guy? Come on, help out here. Joe Gacy attacked Dijak during his entrance and then brawled around the arena. Dijak sent Gacy through the stage. Then the announce table, Gacy kept getting up until officials broke them up. Dijak has more enemies than wins. That have you ever seen a wrestler literally like that? I just don't understand. Ariana
Between
Grace.
him and Lexi King should just start like a everyone hates us type of group or something, because they meddle with everybody.
Ariana Grace is delightful. I really, really like her. King cut a pre-match promo on his way to the ring, calling this the true main event. Mr. Stone brought his kids as he coached up Von Wagner's old stomping ground of the FBC Mortgage Stadium. Wow, nothing gets me more pumped. Of course, in preparation for Noam Dar. Rather than finding a partner and actually getting retribution on Bron Breakker, who crushed your skull. But hey, what do I know? We only watch your product. Of course you should be doing this. Lexus King versus Trey Bearhill. Bearhill walked in emotional and left heartbroken, falling decisively to Lexus King coronation. And of course, Monty, you know how Native Americans get their names, because like Trey Bearhill was talking and the High Chief said, what happens is when your parents, consummating you, basically you look up and there was a bear, there was a hill, and
wow.
Of course, another kid asks, why is my name this? And he goes, well, Mr. Horse Lake, when we saw you, there was a horse and there was a lake, and another little boy in the corner said, how do I get my name? And he said, well, two dogs fucking. Anyway, we move on. Trick tells Mello not to worry about anything. He's got it covered, but it's a loan. Noam Dar and Nora Mensah hosted Supernova Sessions and asked Lola Vice to shoot great Eternal Electra Lopez. And Madrina arrived to announce a match between the two next week for brawling with a former friend. You kind of think they didn't have much for Dar. He was just kind of waiting around. Yeah, do Supernova Sessions, that'll be all right. And Debtors came calling for Chase U, taking everything, including the desk, podium, and Duke Hudson's MVP trophy. We then get Scripps versus Dragon Lee. Of course, Tony D, Stacks, and Rizzo came out to brawl with OTM. The distraction allowed Dragon Lee to hit Destination Dragon for the win. The North American champ told Dragon he will see him at Vengeance Day. Why did Obafemi change his mind? What happened?
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Like, where did he lose the leverage that he had? Yeah, when he lose there. Also, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel? Because when he won the breakout tournament, and maybe it's happening because it's just Dragon Lee, but when he won it, did you think they were gonna like immediately have him turn into not necessarily a coward, but you know what I mean? Did you think he was gonna be like a heelish? Like, I didn't even get that memo that he returned. I don't mind it because he's been pretty cool so far, but you know what I mean.
No,
Like,
I just thought he'd be a destroyer and fun rather than kind of, no, I'm not going to face you. And then next week, yeah, I will.
Yeah, I'll face you.
Like an indecisive champion. That's what we want.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's very cool.
Idris Anofi and Malik Blade moped backstage until Brindley Reese convinced them to think
say that
about
name
positives. Again? Is it Brindley Reese? Is that
no?
right?
I'm sure you're right. I don't know her name. She just
again.
The same way she popped up in these cutscenes is the same way. I'm like, who the hell is this?
I don't want to sound like a kind of old British person here, but if she was in the room with me after 5 minutes, I'd say, look, love, enough. All right? Just
right. Please chill.
5 minutes.
Chill, please. And you know what I immediately thought of? I was like, what the hell? What did they do to Thea Hale? I was like, did she just take Thea Hale's old gimmick and turn it up a notch and swell up? Like, what the hell happened?
Exactly. Why just have Thea Hale doing it? Again, you are right. Anyway, we see Tatum was upset she let the champ down. Last week was a dream for her, but they are on the same page. We see Blair Davenport beat Carmen Petrovic. And then Trick Williams versus Josh Briggs, with Ilya Dragunov watching closely. Briggs accidentally blasted the Mad Dragon with a big boot. Trick Williams hit Briggs with a discus boot and then rolled him up for the win. Dragunov tried to attack Briggs before the end of the match, but Carmella Hayes knocked him down. Afterwards, Briggs blasted Trick with a clothesline. Officials barely held the Mad Dragon back from attacking everyone. Briggs challenged Dragunov, but Trick intervened to prevent the Mad Dragon from getting hurt. Hayes questioned why Trick was getting involved in Dragunov's business, and then backstage they argued about Dragunov's intentions. This was a lot going on here, and again, I was panicked for a second and going, why are they getting Josh Briggs involved in one of the hottest angles in NXT? But again, I love Ilya because it's like, you know, you've seen guys in the pub, you knock their drink over and they get up and they're just like, I'm so angry, just can't control themselves.
Yeah, I immediately said, you know what? If you're going off sides, and this really what I love about it. Like you just mentioned, you go off sides, and you're like, oh, there's no way. Like, come on, Briggs. Well, you know, Briggs would kill him, but like the Dragunov gets so red, it's so intense. It's just like, you know what, Briggs? You're lucky they holding him back. Oh, he's so intense. I love it. Like you said, the slightest thing just gets Dragunov fuel. You did you watch? Like I watched old Acme cartoons growing up, so you have the steam coming out of the head. That's exactly.
I'm sure he gets bigger. Like you know what I mean? Like when he's
right.
He grows like Hulk-like. You know, it's pretty scary.
There's no one like him, man. No one like him.
But again,
but this was soap opera, man. It's very soap opera-ish. And I immediately was just like you. I was like, please don't tell me you put Briggs in the title picture. Slow down, guys.
We see Ridge Holland promising to fight all of Gallus without help. Well, fuck him. New NXT General Manager Ava facilitated the contract signing between Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez. She kept things civil after the competitors almost got heated. And the two signed a paperwork and shook hands. Let Ava do every contract signing from now on. Because that,
right?
Like, no, it's not happening. And then they just move on, you know. Saying that, though, Tatum Paxley did arrive and said the prodigy through the announce table. Valkyrie knocked down and chastised Paxley for her actions. But you know, deep down, she was pleased. You know,
right? Come on, you gave her a high five backstage or something. You're like, good job. Yeah, man, I love it. I love this stalker or whatever we want to call her, the super fan, the lover, whatever. She's kind of leaning into all of those categories. I love her taking things into her own hands, though. I do like that because Lyra was being very sportsmanlike and respectful. But of course, when you got a crazy chick running around, anything can happen. So I do like that element of it. But this was good stuff, like you mentioned. very, very cool. I think the reason why Ava worked really well also in this situation, as far as stopping it from getting physical, is she is huge by comparison to both of them. Very intimidating.
Yes. Be equivalent of like if Big Show was the general manager back in the day. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's
exactly.
But we'll move on. January 30th, go home for Vengeance Day. We started off with the second semi-final in the Dushty Classic, which is a Trick Mello gang versus the LWO. The LWO double coast to coast on Mello, with Trick barely breaking up the pin. Hayes caught wild mid-air with a double knee facebuster. The crowd went wild as Trick got the tag and hit a pair of bookends on both opponents, then hit his running knee strike for the win, while Mello wiped out Cruz on the outside. Obviously, I liked this, and another thing I liked about this, Monty, is the fact Trick picking up the wins. You know, building momentum even in tag matches. You know, this is all about him right now, getting a hot tag, getting a victory.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, that's the best. That's like the best part of it. You know, especially with him being involved, and it just it kind of encapsulates what I think all of us feel whenever he makes an entrance or whenever his backstage segment goes. You know, as great as Dragunov is as champion, he is the guy. Trick feels like the main focus of NXT television, and when you got a guy going through basically two major storylines, the big tag tournament and going after the world title, you got, like you said, you gotta make him feel like the guy, and yeah, it plays into everything perfectly with Mello kind of taking a little bit of the load, but at the same time, in the end, you know who's going to put the nail in the coffin for the other team. I think that's a genius way to do everything. And like you said, Trick going into the biggest match of his life feel like the biggest star on NXT.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Afterwards, Obafemi laid out the LWO and Dragon Lee because why not? Trick wanted to help, but Mello stopped him. Again, another indication of heel and face work, which very subtle but very nicely done. Lexis King tried to give Ava a gift basket of his merchandise. The NXT general manager instead booked him against Holland. Tatum Paxley was hardly a match for Roxanne Perez, who wiped her out with her pop rocks. Afterwards, Prodigy cut for potential follow-up attack by Paxley, beating her down until Laya Valkyria pulled Perez off. We see Ariana Grace try to give Sinclair some advice, but ended up insulting her and Henley, setting up a match. The long-awaited feud we've been waiting match for 2 weeks, Lola Vice versus Elektra Lopez. We see Lopez beating down Vice throughout this fight, but it took on one roundhouse kick for Vice to knock out La Madrina for the 3 count. I was just like, what? Are we done? Is that it?
Yeah, it was definitely sudden. I thought it had a lot. She would have a lot more heat. I probably assumed that of course, the person who won the breakout tournament and everything that Lola has going for her, I expected her to win. But you're 100% right. The way it happened and just kind of the suddenness of it all, it was definitely shocking. But it was fine. You know, I don't know how much. How much more. I think at this point, Elektra had already, because right after their promo segment, she had debuted on SmackDown. So that's another thing.
But we're not used to that, are we? Like usually,
right?
The people hang around for a year. Like
Exactly.
We'll have no DQ
match. Exactly. Hang around, get a blow off, last woman standing match or something. Yeah, exactly. But they gotta wrap this up quick so she can go do her thing with Santos, and I think that's what happened. Triple H or whoever made the call that we need a woman for the for Santos' new group, and Shawn was like, well, he could just get the woman he already had. And so they wrapped that up pretty quickly. But I'm with you. Honestly, their entire relationship went by very, very fast. Like from them being a semi a threat and kind of a team to showing up every now and then the whole entire time Lola kind of shines, wins the spot, and then just now it's over. Just like that, we're done. We can move on. So, it is what it is.
if we had like a greatest hits video, it would just be them dancing. You know, like we said,
yeah.
You know,
No, exactly. That's pretty much it.
But...
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, speaking of wrestlers not doing much, Rich Holland had another match, this time against Lexis King. Gallus arrived, causing a distraction. Lexis King got the win with a coronation. Afterwards, Gallus blasted the left leg of Holland with a chair. Backstage, Mello again warned Trick about Dragunov's mind games. Duke Hudson played a tribute video for Chase. Andre Chase and Chase U. JC Jane and Thea Hale arrived just first ready to say goodbye. But he announced a Lady to Chase U 2024 calendar that would save the university from financial failure. An overjoyed Chase named her an official member of Chase U. She seemed a bit uneasy, but liked it in the end. My question to you, Monty, what was the fucking point? What was the point?
Thank you.
Thank months you. Following this? A year? What the fuck?
Thank you. I from the sense that, let me say it this way, from the sense of I understand where they're coming from, or like from the sense of getting out of this storyline, because that's what it feels like. To be honest, like just be honest about it. It just feels like they really wanted to get out from under this storyline. So they was like, I know a good way that makes sense that could get us away from it. Let's put out this calendar. And that's how they got their money magically back, and they're fine now. You know what I mean? Now we can get back to vignetting and doing whatever else, Chase, you were doing. But when you think about the ride that we've been on pretty much since they won the tag titles, and you remember just how over, I'm not saying they won't be, we're talking about that little building in Orlando. They probably still will be over and popular. But my problem is that I just feel like a lot of the momentum, that whatever you thought of Chase U, they had something going. And it was building, whether we thought it was going to be Duke turning, which, again, could still happen. But, you know, whatever we thought was going to happen, all the way to them becoming tag champions, all the way to is JC to be trusted, to now she's, you know, a genius who saved the university. All of this just feels, like you said, at the end of the day, like a waste of time. It's just, at the end of the day, like, and you know who I blame? And you're going to laugh, because I think you're going to understand completely where I'm coming from. You know who fault it is? It's the family. It all comes back to our tag team champions, who would rather take us through the worst soap opera ever just to avoid wrestling weekly. Like, come on, man. Like, this was just a whole lot of nothing.
Story, man. Yeah, you are right. Yeah. They could have just feuded. And again, like, Thea Hale changed her character. Never.
It don't even matter. She don't even leave the school.
Yeah, there's no development. Like, she
gets a
credit. Someone else take her gimmick and then became more like JC Jane. Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
And now you got the romance and Riley Osborne again. Not to go on for too long, but a few weeks ago he was like, "Yeah, hi, Thea," and now he's like, "Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do?" You know, it's like, when did you turn into Hugh Grant? Like, when the fuck did this happen?
What happened, man? And even JC, to an extent, it's cool. But think about who JC was when she turned on Gigi and all that. Why do she give a damn about the school? Like, why does
she's
she
like,
care?
I hate tag teams and stables, but I love groups. Like, anything more than 5.
Exactly. But make it make sense, man.
Well, again, Lexis King interrupted backstage celebration of Chase U till Osborne told him to back off. And I have said this, but I'll say it now, just in case for the note. My thing would be Thea Hale betraying Chase U to go with Lexis King, and then have some character development. Do something
that's
like
some heat.
That. You know,
that'll get us some heat too. Yeah. I see that vision. And then somehow we reverse it, and like JC is fighting with Chase of all people. And yeah, definitely.
Well, unfortunately, we haven't got that yet, but we have got.
Matter of fact, Duke can turn too, and he can have some. Lex can have some muscle. Yeah, Lex can have some muscle. So yeah,
bring back what's his name? I can't even figure his fucking name now. Not Brody, something like that. I'm sure we'll get emails. You remember the guy?
Bodie Hayward or whatever.
Bodie, that's it. Yeah. Well done.
I remember him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Ariana Grace, Fallon Henley, and Grace had no answer for the physical offense of Henley. However, Lash Legend wiped out Henley outside with a big boot, threw her back in to take the pin. Like I said, I'm a real fan of Grace. It's the little things, like celebrating like she just won the Super Bowl. The family and OTM Cup pre-tape promos on each other ahead of Vengeance Day. Heritage Cup, Noam Dar versus Von Wagner. Dar uses the distraction of Aura Mensa to pick up the first fall with a Nova Roller in the second round. The Scottish Supernova got the second pinfall after sending Wagner shoulder first into the steel post, followed by a stack-up. Afterwards, Dar and Mensa mocked Mr. Stone's kid until the big man sent Mensa through the announce table. Stone's kids watched closely from the crowd, which is not weird at all, even though Von Wagner looked to be the biggest fucking idiot going. I mean, again, what is the point? I'm going to talk about Von in a little bit as well, but, like, did he never see a Heritage Cup match? Like, what was the point?
The only saving grace is that so far in his career, he has not been the smartest person. He's not been portrayed as smart whatsoever. Because that's the only way you can explain that away. I mean, this was what it was. I didn't have the highest expectations. I don't think you did either. But yeah, I'm with you. I think to even screw with Von Wagner or whatever they got going, forget that. Like you mentioned. Well, they don't know what else they want to do with Noam, huh? They lost the plot.
With Stone, if he's saying to Von Wagner, he's going, if only there was a match type where you could win by putting through someone a table. Like you do, but I can't. Von's like, I don't know. I just keep losing.
I have no clue.
Put through a table afterwards. That's all I do. Just,
Oh my goodness.
But it went from the ridiculous to the sublime because we see Dijak and Joe Gacy brawling in Hard Justice private office. It's nice Dijak, out of every wrestler in WWE, gets his own office. You get Bloodline, you get Triple H, and you get Dijak. They're the three. The brawl continued
and he's apparently not paying the bills. He's always dark in there.
Yeah, he's got his tablet, bless him. He's no electric. No water. The brawl continues where Hard Justice kicked Gacy into a dumpster. Ava then agreed to let Dijak and Gacy fight in a no DQ match of Vengeance Day. And again, Joe Gacy here, very entertaining because, again, I don't know why, but it's just working for me.
I agree. I don't know what it is because he's still creepy or crazy, but I think all the cult and imagery and just being cryptic for no reason. I think Psycho, let's say it this way, leaning into making him feel like a Bray Wyatt was a mistake, but making him be the new and improved like Lunatic Fringe, Ambrose type of deal, but just like even more wacky, I think that's definitely fitting him much better. You know what I mean? Just being more of a wacky type of lunatic instead of being, cryptic and whatever they had going on with the tree and all of that type of stuff. That was fine, but that one was way less. It was harder to buy into that. This one makes a lot of sense, especially with him being alone now and then Dijak is the perfect person to do it with because Dijak is so no nonsense. So you got a complete idiot, like just someone who's lost the plot completely, going against someone who's just very, very, strict and no nonsense. So they play off each other really good here. And I like you said, I'm with you. I didn't think I would like what they were going, but whoever decided that we should go the wacky route with Gacy, I think they've done a good job of kind of rebuilding because I didn't know. We talked about it. He was one of those guys that if you found out a few months back, he was one of those guys that if you heard that NXT was releasing him, you probably would have said, oh, well, he had a good run. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's cool that he's seemingly has found his footing somewhere.
Well, the main event segment, Trick Williams questioned whether Ilya Dragunov was playing mind games with him. Mad Dragon told him to worry about Carmella Hayes' plans. Dragunov hugged Trick, but Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin struck, taking out both men. Melo arrived to help clear the ring. And now, don't get me wrong, I know Baron and Bron beating you up is bad, but I wouldn't want to get hugged by Ilya Dragunov.
No.
That's the biggest mind games.
Yeah, that's not a good. So far, that has not proven to be a good sign. Getting a hug from him. He again one of the most. like I said, I love when I'm online. I see that a lot of people who've been watching agree with us. Dragunov is on that short list. I know Kurt Angle, a couple other guys from the past and present that you would not want to fight. Dragunov is Ilya Dragunov is almost at the top of my list of people that I just don't want any problem with. You don't want any problem with a guy like Dragunov because he is he's just like I said, so intense. And like you said, the energy here, the presentation of Dragunov, I have to give NXT props because a lot of these NXT UK guys, even with No Am to an extent too, the presentation of these guys just feels like that they watch NXT UK. Whoever's been in control of what we're doing creatively with Dragunov and with guys like No Am Dar. I don't know if they watched it in terms of Gallus all the way. They probably snoozed off when it came to Gallus a little bit. But hey, they definitely seem like they understood what Dragunov and Noam Dar and guys like that were all about because he's just been a delight. And yeah, man, he's just great.
To be fair, they probably did watch Gallus, and then when they showed up and went, "How small are you?" They,
Oh, that's a good point.
We're not ready for another Cruiserweight Classic, guys. So we'll move on then, and it is Vengeance Day, February 4th. What better way to kick off than with kickoff? In the studio, Megan Morant, Matt Camp, not for long, and Sam Roberts. We see Trick and Ilya arrive. Lyra arrives wearing champ pants. That's what she says. Tatum shows up as well, and Lyra is happy to see her. Well, that's what I'm saying. Kenny Kincaid interviewed Dragon Lee. Wolf Dogs were bonding backstage. The panel compared Gacy to Mankind, which again, we were talking about Lunatic Fringe.
Yeah.
The thing is, he likes punishment, or he likes punishment, and
right.
it's like there is no wrestler that likes punishment. Again, Ilya Dragunov, you could maybe argue, but
yeah,
cut
it's
to
kind of
Gacy.
sadistic.
Yeah, cut to Joe Gacy wearing a red flannel top, finding weapons backstage. So I wonder if they are trying to hit home that kind of,
Yeah.
If his catchphrase is like "Bing Bong" or something like that, with a couple of things.
He started doing an elbow drop off the apron. I think I know what's going on.
Anyway, main show, and I was disappointed by the opening video. But again, the main story leading into this has been great, which is all about Trick Williams. Would this be his night? Of course, facing the Dragunov for the NXT title, but first, would he win the Dushty Classic? Of course, it was the final Trick Melee Gang versus the Wolf Dogs. But Vic Joseph announced the return of Wade Barrett for one night on NXT commentary. Great to see Wade, but unfortunately, Booker T was at home recovering, and he has been off for the past few weeks. And of course, our commentator of the year last year, we wish Booker all the best. And this is bad because, especially Trick's, what could be his biggest night, to not have Booker there, and I've said this to you before, is the equivalent of JR not being there for like an Austin WrestleMania match.
Yeah. Like, imagine Austin and Sean, and you don't have JR there to get an iconic call. Someone who's just been along the journey, and if not just as important, almost as the talent in this situation, is a guy like Booker T in this case. So yeah, man, it was definitely one of those things that it kind of sucked, but I didn't mind the change because it just seemed like it was. I'm assuming that it was something that couldn't be helped because it was a medical type of deal procedure, and then it was also the timing of everything. Then we got buried, and I like, we talked about this too. Great, we love what Booker's been doing, and he's been a delight and an addition. But Barrett was also, him and Vic, their chemistry, they were awesome, also great together. So I wasn't, since he was the one replacing him, I wasn't as mad about it. But you're right, to not have him here on such a big night for Trick definitely was unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I will complain about not having Wade or Booker in a little bit. So hold tight, everybody. Anyway, we get Barrett's first attempt at riffing on Trick's theme. The magic was maybe not as much there as it has been before. But again, it's still great to have him bike. Corbin and Breaker came out on bikes. that they walked up the main ramp. Again, I understand because Corbin has already sorted out his entrance. And Bron obviously got the bike as well.
Yeah.
We see, and then onto the match, and during Trick's hot tag, he seemed to tweak his knee on a kip up, which would be an injury we have to watch in the main event. A rough punch during the match left Trick bleeding from his mouth. I felt a bit sorry for him. I thought, you're going to go against Ian later. Like, we kind of want to go down. Trick Mello Gang looked great throughout in the match, but they could not put their rivals away. Carmelo Hayes took a spear from Bron Breakker for Trick Williams, and Trick could not break up the pinfall. And your Dushty Classic 2024 winners are the Wolf Dogs. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Monty? Because, again, we're going to get in, like, predictions and all this lot, but these two teams felt big. And, you know, what were your thoughts on this? Because I think Bron and Baron as well will get over the main roster, but we'll start with just the opening first.
Yeah, man, I thought this was cool. You know, I didn't have a problem with it. It was good stuff. You know, if I did have an issue with, maybe it was sloppy at times, just a little bit. A couple of things didn't seemingly go as planned, but it was still some really quality wrestling. And you know, I also like how you could just kind of tell from the way the match was put together how much Mello kind of had to kind of take a brunt of the damage. He didn't, you know, Trick, like you said, bust. I think it was his lip. He kind of messed up there. He definitely took some bumps himself, but Mello took the brunt of what was going on here. And but you know, obviously with Trick fighting later that night, you know, that was expected, but it was still cool to just kind of watch the dynamic. It was a couple moments where I kind of thought maybe that Mello and Trick had this thing in the bag, but honestly, it was cool to kind of see. You know, I the only thing that kind of had me worried at any point would be if Braun and Baron had any cracks in their chemistry. To be fair, neither team really had a major problem, but you know, but at the end of the day, Trick and Mello did not get the victory. It was the spear that took out Mello. I was kind of wondering like where did Trick go because like Mello took the spear, but Trick kind of flew out of the ring and then just didn't make it back in time. I was like, what the hell happened? But it was still cool. The finish was fine, and I thought, like I said, Bron Breakker is still adding to his repertoire, and that the cutter and some of the other moves that he's just throwing in there. Like, you know what? I know me and you both said he's been main roster ready, but you know what? It's nice to see that even with this extended time, he's had a chance to add moves. Right, exactly. So like, oh yeah, he's more than ready, you know. So this was cool. Like, I 100% agree with you. The Wolf Dogs on the main roster together actually would be a fun way to kind of kick it off. And then, you know, with the history with him being Rick Steiner's son, him starting off in a tag team, you know, would be kind of poetic in a sense, you know.
Exactly, and then you can do you know, the turn and everything like this as well. But actually, it could work and get over. And again, there was a couple of moments here, a couple of spot smiths, and Bron's lucky he didn't break his neck. You know, people joke about the ropes, but again,
oh my goodness,
you know, when you're going that fast, it is scary, man. You forget, you know, like. But again, the question is, well, did Mello? I say do it on purpose. You know, did he lose the match on purpose, or because at the time I was like, right, but I thought you really want to win, so throw Trick away. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes you think, and but it will still end up being solid. I tried not to put too much thought into it, but when it happened, it was one of those things like, so how is that going to play into what happens next? So we just kind of had to wait and see.
What would you score out of 5?
I think it was a good solid tag match overall. I think a 4 would probably be a best place to put it. It probably could have been better, but I didn't really think at any point that that the stakes were not that they weren't big enough. I just, for some reason, it just seemed like it was too much pressure at the end there to see who would win. But I did think it was moments where Melo Trick could have won, so I did think it was still good. But it wasn't. I've seen better finals of the Dusty Cup. I'll say it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I think the Axiom A-Kid match maybe was better. So
Yeah.
again, it's maybe slight, but still a 4. Like, you know, and again,
Right.
I'll learn that makeshift teams have fucked me over in the Dusty Classic for years. You know, going back to Riddle and Dunn or whoever, you know,
insert
really
team here.
Oh,
Joe and
fuck me.
Fiend, I think. Yeah, Joe and Fiend.
Honestly, every time, man. Anyway, predictions. Here we go again. So, bonus league at this moment. Monty had a fantastic Royal Rumble after the disappointment of Wrestle Kingdom. He is on 13 at the moment on the bonus league. Nearest challengers, James and Gina on 8. Jaxie on 6. So for this match, James and Jaxie went Trick Mello. Gina and Monty went Wolf Dog. So it means Gina and Monty are on 1. James and Jaxie on 0. Up next, no DQ match. Dijak versus Joe Gacy. Gacy came out to a slightly modified theme, including an opening creepy laugh, but he still got the yellow mask. Gacy brought out plastic children's toys and poured them on a table at ringside. My God. Dijak took a bad bump off the apron through the table. Dijak tried so hard to make that bump. He wasn't going to miss it. You know? Like, that was earlier, someone said, "You really think you can make that, Dijak?" And he goes, "If it kills me." Our Justice trapped his rival in a trash can. One thing I never seen, and then stomped on it, but one thing I never seen was a headbutt that way in a trash can. It did look actually brutal. You know, I'm going, fucking hell.
Oh my goodness, it was nice.
Gacy blinded Dijak with duct tape. Hard Justice managed to hit Feast Your Eyes blind, but could not find his opponent. And any wrestler blindfolded turns into Marseille with the whole kind of, oh look, I'm stuck inside a small room. When he finally got the tape off, he found Gacy upside down in the corner staring at him. Hard Justice barely pulled out the win with Feast Your Eyes, but he was disturbed by the smile of Gacy after the finish. Monty, what's your thoughts on this? Because I think both men came out looking better after this.
100%. I couldn't put it better myself, man. Like that's 100% what I thought coming out of it. Like I was like, oh wow, they really went for it, and Dijak continues this stream. At this point, I think they're just making up storylines for Dijak to just get on these big events. It doesn't even matter if the storyline makes sense. Just give him someone to hate so he can go out there and have a banger because, man, did he look good. And Gacy, in my opinion, this was probably his most impressive match easily in his career so far. And I think the thing is with Gacy is he always kind of had pieces to the puzzle when it came to his in-ring work, in my opinion. But like we mentioned in the past, with a lot of the stuff he was doing, the character or just his involvement, he almost seemed. I remember at times when he was fighting for the belt in the past, he just seemed like he was forced into there. He didn't seem like he belonged there. And I think in this situation, in this style of match too, and if they're gonna try to make him a new generation type of Foley type of deal, then he's gonna make his money off this style. And I think it really played into what he does really well also. And then the smile at the end after being defeated and taking the last Feast Your Eyes. It was a lot of great moments in this match that just, like you said, the trash can spot. At some point, he did like a dive where it looked like Gacy kicked a fan. The way he did the dive, like it was really, really cool. It was really, really cool, and it was just a lot of fun. Like I honestly, I was not that I wasn't expecting it to be at least good quality, because again, when it comes to Dijak, I pretty much expect him, whether he's gonna, because he mostly loses, but if he's not gonna win or lose, he's gonna give me something very entertaining. And for them to go out there and do something like this, I thought this was really, really top notch stuff. Some of the best, and then it didn't go too far. It wasn't too brutal either. It was right in the realms of a really good hardcore style match that ended up also, like you said, making both guys look good. So how can you complain about that? I ended up giving it like 4.5. I really was into it.
Yeah, no, like you said, Dijak took 2 crazy bumps. I really like this. I just want Dijak versus Gargano at a takeover because I think because again, if that match happened, that would be like a fucking match of the year because Dijak always delivers. Like, don't matter who's opponent, we've seen it years past with Keith Lee and stuff like this as well. You know, like just banger after banger. I give it 4.25, but like you said, really, really good stuff. Predictions: we all went Dijak, so Monty, Gina on 2. James and Jaxie on 1. JC Jane is a genius. And then she was there alongside Thea Hale, Carmen, and Jasmine. Again, more names I don't know, but the calendar is selling well. Up next, the family versus OTM with Scripps. The family attack their rivals from behind to start the match. And again, they didn't want to put their titles on the line, you know? So I'm not counting this as a second match because we're going to get a title match later, but this is 6-man. Anyway, they wanted revenge. Jada Parker and Rizzo started out the brawl until OTM forced a tag to isolate Stacks. Even Scripps helping beat down on Stacks, but still couldn't do anything because Tony D got the hot tag. He was unstoppable. One thing I do like is waking up a day's Stacks and throwing them onto people. I think that's one of Tony D's best moves, especially after it looks like Stacks is out. Rizzo went up and hit a clean frog splash to the outside, and then we see Tony D taking out Lucien Price with the forget about it. Thoughts on this one, Monty? Because again, I will say this as well. There was a little video, and it said the family have been tag champions since July. They haven't, have they? That can't be. I'm sure they've lost. Did they?
But they
lose and then win back.
Yeah, they definitely lost and won it back, right? Because Chase and them won it.
It must be Chase.
At least for like a week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, at least for like a week, I thought. A couple of weeks they had it. They definitely at least been in the picture probably since July, though. I don't know.
Like 7 months and about 4 title defenses.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's why it's so hard for us to remember. Like it's been so many vignettes. They could have let all that time go by. You know, it's insane. But you know, this match was fine. I didn't have a problem with really much of the action in it. I just kind of came away from it, in my opinion. And let me know if you kind of got the same thing, other than Jada and Rizzo, who I'm not familiar much with, but they both. You know, they had their moments where they kind of got a chance to finally show what they could do, and we'll see. I think they both need time. I think if you looked at this match, you can see that they both probably going to have to get a little bit more seasoned before we have anything. I don't have much to add other than they need to be a little bit more seasoned when it comes to them two. And I think OTM as a tag team, the two guys, I think they're fine. They're okay. They also going to need time. And I just came away from this really with the thought process that Tony D was like not necessarily saving grace, but I don't know how invested in a match I personally can be when he feels like by far the biggest star. You know what I mean?
A match feels like developmental when Tony D is head and shoulders above the rest, like you said.
Exactly. He was the highlight. Yeah, exactly. He was the highlight, and I personally, maybe if they shed all of the goofy, tropey Italian stuff, maybe Tony D could have something. But you know, because I think he does at least have some pretty good, you know, wrestling moves, or at least a pretty good wrestling style. But yeah, he was by far, I think, like we just mentioned, by far the bright spot here, and that says a lot.
Well, it looked like Parker forgot half her outfit. And I know, again, I'm an old man, but, you know, sometimes I'm just like...
Between her and Ren, I guess that's just their thing, the one-legged gear, but yeah. I'm not a
Zack
fan.
Ryder. Like, I'm sorry, but...
And I wasn't a fan then.
Yeah, exactly. And again, what's the point of OTM? If they can't win... And I'm not minding about predictions, but if you can't win a non-title match to become a threat, then just fucking go. You know, the whole point was that, it was non-title, but they just looked even worse, especially with the man advantage, because it's Scripps. You know, it's just like...
Exactly. So it's basically not an advantage. He's just there.
Anyway,
so yeah.
Out of 5, what would you score it?
Again, I think right down the like 3.25, like right down the middle, 3.25, 3.5. It had some okay moments. The dives from Rizzo and all of that, that was cool. But yeah, I don't
Stats
have
being
much else to
thrown
say.
is, like I said, my favourite moment.
Yeah,
that's
just
funny,
tossing
and then
stats.
we move on.
Yeah.
Predictions: Jackson and I went OTM because we're fucking idiots. Monty and Gina went to family, so Monty and Gina on 3, James and Jackson on 1. In the trainer's room, Mello explained that he took the spear for Trick to protect him for the main event.
Oh, okay.
There you go. That makes sense. Weird placing match: NXT Women's Championship, Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. Valkyria and Perez were battling the shit each other in a physical battle even until Lola Vice hit the ring to cash in a breakout tournament contract. When did this breakout tournament thing become cash-in, Monty?
Money in the bank. Yeah.
Did I miss this? Anyway.
No. I mentioned that when Oba did it. I did not know this is how we do it. But this is how we do it
now. Exactly. Literally, I've seen it in AEW and elsewhere. Is every... I don't know. Anyway, the match got... Well, the crowd, shall we say, got a lot hotter when Vice came out. She hit her best shot on both women with a roundhouse kick, but they each kicked out. Tatum Paxley tried to stop Vice's cash-in, but she failed. Later, Paxley knocked Perez out the way to set up Valkyrie's win. Valkyrie ducked the second roundhouse and hit the Nightwish for the victory. So, Monty, thoughts on this? For me, Lyra's feathers didn't last. Haven't we learnt from the Rumble? Haven't we learned?
Oh, I knew you were going to talk about the mess the ring ended up being. I knew it. This was good, man. I prefer now. Again, I'm actually one of those people who can see. I get it, especially with the fans, and maybe some of the fans only care because she does a nice Latin wiggle that I think we all can appreciate. But Lola's legit. Lola's gonna be a champion. I don't think that. I think at the end of the day, we're gonna be looking at Lola Vice as women's champions. Either if it ain't before the year out, at some point, depending on how long, unless they call her up magically, like they've been doing a little bit sometimes. But before she gets called up, I'm sure she will end up champion. It's just at this point, I think she has enough legitimacy about her, and the people like her. I think that's going to happen. But I did enjoy this. I will say this: I enjoyed this a lot better when it was just Roxy and Lyra. Man, they were cooking, and I felt like this just made me want a stand and deliver type, just one-on-one deal. And maybe that's still what we can get down the line. I'm not sure where they want to go from here, because that might be and I think we still can go there because of the unsure of what that match would have been like. Because if I'm Roxy going into Stand and Deliver or whatever, or going into the next deadline or whatever it is, I'm like, yo, I had you before when she made her entrance. I had Pop Rocks. I had my belt back. So I think most likely we're going to get more development into where Roxy goes next, and that will set up whether or not she finally chases down Lyra and gets the belt. But I really was enjoying what they were doing together, because they were, man, the chemistry and like just and that just shows you when you have it down in the ring and you put two people who just are good. It flowed like water. Sometimes you get a little bit of awkwardness, but those two, they were flowing like water. The triple threat element did add a little bit of a panic to it. It made Lola like, oh my goodness, is Lola gonna come steal this? So I didn't mind it from that point of view. But she did end up blowing her chance. So I do think at some point she's going to win it. But this was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. It ended up being a good overall triple threat match. But it just kind of just left me. I don't know about you, but it left me wanting more Lyra versus Roxy down the line. Maybe even a heel Roxy to put it over going forward, like or something. Like I would love to see what that looked like, because they were doing. I really liked what they had going before Lola popped in.
Well, we questioned it, didn't we, last month about why is this match, as in Rox and Lyra, at Vengeance Day and not Stand and Deliver? So when Lola Vice, with the odd timing, did come out, I mean, she could have...
Just wait.
Yeah, just wait till both are down. Like, but again, you want to get involved. You're overexcited. So I think this might lead to, like you said, Lyra versus Fox. But again, this was great stuff from all involved because even when Lola came in, she had to kind of take it up a level. So it's still fun stuff. So what would you score out of 5?
Yeah, man, 4.25 is probably where I end up at. Like I said, it just end up being really, really cool. And it has me interested to where we go in the title picture next. Like we mentioned, we do have that element of a Paxley because not only did she make her presence felt here, we know that down the line, if like a great person to show that you're a completely different type of character, if I'm Roxy, would be to take out somebody like a Paxley in brutal fashion or something like that. So yeah, man, it just made me excited to where we could possibly go when it comes to Lyra and Roxy. But overall, I'll give it 4.25.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4.25 as well. Predictions, we went Lyra, so it means Monty Jr. on 4, James Jackson on 2. Riley Osborne's acting is shocking. He's Thea's Valentine. We see a NXT tease. We don't know what it is. Is it going to be Okada? Could it be Mick Foley? We saw a video that says the man has 3 faces. One the world sees, one his family sees, and the real one no one sees, but reflects the evil he truly possesses. Again, Monty, this is odd, isn't it? But NXT do this well, create intrigue.
Yeah, whoever it is, it seems like like you said, it's Japanese inspired, at least from what I've read. So we'll see. We'll see. It's interesting. I didn't want to be this guy, but it definitely also could just be another like uh, Dante Chien type of faction thing where they could be just
the turn of Tien Sha.
Yeah, Tien Sha. Yeah, it could be another Tien Sha. Who knows? To be honest, but it's definitely creating intrigue is interesting. And you're right. NXT does a really good job for the most part of debuting and creating that type of spotlight and intrigue. So hopefully it's something that will add a nice new element to whatever division it's a part of because it could be a woman. So we don't know. It'd be nice to see what happens though.
You're without doubt. Up next, North American Championship, Obafemi versus Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee started this fight fast, but the power of Obafemi slowed him down. I'll tell it to Sean Connery then. It slowed him down. Dragon caught Femi in an octopus hold, but the big man dragged himself to the ropes and broke up with the teeth on the rope. You don't see that often. Luchador pulled off an incredible set-up powerbomb on the champion, but learning throughout his battle with the Luchador, the champion retained with an impactful powerbomb. Monty, this is the kind of match that I forgot. I was going, what's next? Oh, this one, yeah. But again, overlook. This was good, wasn't it? Did what it said on 10.
Yeah, man, I was actually I was impressed. I don't know about you, but I think me and you both know what Dragon Lee is about. We know that his quality of what he was doing, but what I really look at when I watch a guy like a Obafemi fight a guy like Dragon Lee, someone who's athletic, someone who does a lot of the flashy things, and someone who can sell like Dragon Lee, is more so what can you do to help Dragon Lee look like he's a threat to you. And I think for someone so new to the business, he sold pretty well. He actually made Dragon Lee for a second there look like he had a chance, not necessarily at winning, but at least doing damage to the big man. And for someone so dominant and so strong, and the way he just shot putting other grown men like it's nothing. You know what I mean? It's always going to be impressive. That's one thing I say when you got. I think that's what they need to focus on with Obafemi going forward, just making him continue to showcase that impressive athleticism that he possessed, because that's what makes him stand out so far. Is just how impressive and how dominant he can be, and I think his run could be a lengthy one, especially with his style. So I can't wait to see what else they do. But he ended up impressing me with how willing and how good he looked in the role of battling a guy like a Dragon Lee, because he could have looked out of his depth. He could have looked like he only had, he only is a good look, or someone who just have a few moves and that's it. But I thought he held his own pretty well. And Dragon Lee also still looked really good and competitive in this match. So this impressed me. I didn't come with, like you mentioned, it was one of those matches you kind of forget about. I didn't think it would be bad, but I wasn't expecting much, but I ended up being entertained. So this is a plus.
Yeah, I mean, Oba looked great. Dragon Lee made him look awesome, and again,
Yeah.
I was really, really impressed with it. I'm gonna give it 4.5. Monty, what are you gonna score it?
Yeah. I'm right with you. 4.5, 4.25. That range is right exactly where I go. It was a really good defense.
Predictions: we went Oba, so Monty Jr. on 5, Jack Seaton James on 3. Lexis King showed up the calendar signing and got into a fight with Osborne. As I've said before, Thea should betray Riley and go with King. Ava gave us a peek of the upcoming events. March 3rd, we're going to get Roadblock, which is the NXT special. Stand and Deliver, of course, WrestleMania weekend. And in May, Battleground. We get Mallet Blade and Edge Snoffy trying to reflect on their Dushty Classic loss, only to face a challenge from Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Backstage, Prez and Vice kept brawling as officials attempted to break them up. So now it's main event time. It's what we've been waiting for. NXT Championship, Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams. Trick busted lip from the opener, reopened early on, and the Mad Dragon enjoyed talking Mello at ringside as he suplexed Trick on the floor. Later, Dragunov sent Mello into Trick's knee onto the steel steps. Trick countered the H-bomb with a first 48, and Mello went wild, cheering at ringside. The crowd, to no surprise, was completely behind Trick, in a way it had not been for much of the night, or been heard even. Trick pulled out an H-bomb of his own for a near fall. He went for a bicycle knee, but stumbled with his injured knee. This allowed Dragunov to hit a pair of H-bombs, including one diving for a shocking near fall.
Man, I thought it was over.
Honest to goodness, like, there were points in this, like, I mean, I don't want to go back to stuff, but again, little things like the big fight music, you know, and the hype video. We should talk about that, because like the hype video and making it feel like a big deal. Like I said, this has been our main story for 6 months now, going into this event. And like I said, Trick so overly loved seeing him again. How many babyfaces have you seen appear twice on a show and maybe not get reaction, but because of the music being interrupted earlier to actually sing Whoop That Trick all the way through?
Right.
Trick making Ilya bleed early was a big mistake. Like this.
He pissed him off.
Yeah.
You never want that guy to see his own blood,
And the kick out of the H-bomb was fantastic. There's no doubt about that. I honestly thought that was the end at that point. Of course, Kamala Hayes joined ringside to support Trick, but he kept getting in the way. He caused a referee bump that saved Ilya from a 3 count. Like I said, the knee from Trick on Ilya was one of those moments I thought this could be it. But at the end, in one of my maybe favourite finishes of maybe all time. I mean, I have to rethink about it, but there's nothing quite. It was like I don't say it was like a movie, but both just running at each other, trying to give their best shot. With like you said, Ilya getting a torpedo Moscow, that sealed the champions win. But that wasn't it, Monty. Because we're gonna have to speak about it afterwards. Mello revealed his true intentions and attacked Trick's knee and laid out a Trick Mellogang shirt on his friend, got the chair and went to town. And honestly, I nearly cried when I heard Trick say no more to Mello. Like, it honestly broke my heart. This was just pure joy. I say joy, but just everything about this I loved. So, Monty, what were your thoughts on the match and then what we knew was going to happen, but I don't think no one wanted to happen, and that's what makes it special.
Yeah, man. Even the crowd there, and I'll get to it in a second, but they kind of let out when he stepped behind Mello. They let off a collective like ooh, cause they knew it was coming. But yeah, man, the match, bro, man, the match was special, man. This was some magnum opus type stuff, man. This was like perfect. This was like I don't even know how you can't put it like to me. And I've heard people, and the thing is, you haven't watched it yet, but when you get a chance to watch it, we can come back and revisit this after you watch ZSJ versus Danielson. But for me, man, this is my match of the year easily. Like this was how far it went. Now it's right up there. Now him and them and Danielson and Zach too are battling. Now imagine that. This is Trick Williams, somebody we watched come all the way from the beginning. But right now he is in the conversation with Dragunov, Zach, and Danielson as far as like match of the year, in my opinion. If you watch it, because that's just how good this was, the timing, the drama. You know, it's not just because of the stakes and the fact that everybody in the crowd was into it, but like that's a part of it. But though, like you said, it was physical. Like this was still a Dragunov match. You know, don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? They respect
I don't interrupt,
each other.
but like,
go ahead.
There was a moment where I think Trick bookended Ia off the apron to the floor.
Yes.
And
yes.
Ia's nose just busted. Like it was brutal. And it and both bled. And they both like each other.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? These guys have respect for each other. And this is what a Dragunov match can turn into. So yeah, man, I loved it. Man. Like you said, the little lariat that you know, it was I think it was a drop kick that got Dragunov in the first place. And then Dragunov went high on his lariat, and you could see him bust. Like I watched it back, and I saw it like, oh my goodness, like this was really. It got physical, really, really fast. Like you said, for people who respect each other, and then like you said, a bookend off the apron. It was at one point where the crowd was just all behind Trick, and he was getting ready to do his lariat. Then Dragunov gave a perfect reversal out of the bookend / rock bottom type Uranagi. So it was just like everything about it was smart. The progression was cool, and then all of it to be culminating. And it was, as a matter of fact, it was so good that I was happy. I was mad because at first I was like, I thought Melo was gonna like. In some ways, he definitely cost Trick. Like you said, the falling into him. He's the first person I ever seen get knocked into a top block. Like he missed a punch and go right into a top block. Like that's the first time I ever seen that. And then, you know, like you said, distracting the ref. Yes, he did have some shenanigans, but it was so good that I was happy that Melo did not play a factor in the finish because it culminated perfectly, and they're both in opposite aprons, and you have the start so he can go into Torpedo Moscow, and then you have Trick loading up for the knee and running, and they go head first, and literally just because of how Dragunov does his move, he hits Trick before Trick could get there, and it perfect. It was just a perfect way to finish it because it right there. That the way that match finished, it's not that Trick was not better than Dragunov. He just wasn't better than him tonight. And that's what I love about that. It's just like at that night, he couldn't beat Dragunov. That don't mean the next time they fight, whenever that may be, Trick can't beat him. And I think that's what I love the most about it because this made Trick, like we talked about that first match that changed how everyone viewed Trick just in the ring in general. But this one, in my opinion, now it's like, oh no, Trick is he's championship material guaranteed. He's not just a guy who's over right now. He's not just a character who seems like the most important guy. He has what it takes to be the most important guy, and that's what this match showed me. So I love everything about the match. And then again, the Trick could just go out there and fight with a guy like Dragunov and hold his own the way he did. This was just fantastic work from both men. And then the after effect. Yeah, man, it was just as someone like you, like me, who've been here the entire. We both been here on the entire ride, and I've been closer. I've been supporting them from the beginning, and even if I saw the cracks, if it's one thing I know is that since I've been watching Melo is all about confidence. He's always been about himself, and ever since the show became more about Trick, that the Melo that I know will be seething because he has been him. It was never them. It was never it's us. It's him. Even when Trick was doing everything Trick did for him, everybody were 100% right, and it was real deal. I saw some people crying online after that, literally crying after this. So it just shows you how invested a lot of people were into the tandem, and just the villain that Melo comes off as. Even though I seen it coming, it was definitely shocking the way he did it, but I knew it was going to happen. I just knew it had to happen because from what I know about Melo, his ego would never let someone like Trick be next to him. He would have to try to take Trick out because at the end of the day, he's all about himself. He's all about his ego. So it played it together perfectly. People brought up the great similarities between what he was wearing and what Sean wore when he threw Marty Jannetty through the glass. I didn't even notice that, but I was like, that's a very nice little touch, you know. So we know how much Sean loves to take Melo through the stages of Sean's career, it seems like. So I just love that little callback. But yeah, man, this was at the end of the day, Trick has gotten too big to be next to Melo. You would hope for them to be together forever, but this is pro wrestling, man. It's very, very rare.
You know, like
very,
said,
very rare, man.
Have a reunion on the main roster in a couple of years, like, you know. I mean, it's not.
Hopefully,
this is the
or
thing. Like,
they can be blood enemies for the rest of their career.
Life.
I mean, we'll see. Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like all three, as you said, from this now. Ilya Dragunov. I mean, Ilya is a great champion. I mean, no matter the belt, he carries himself as a star. And as we've spoken about, if Gunther's one end of the street and Ilya's the other, and I've got to pick one, I'm probably going Gunther's way at the moment because Ilya is just on a different level. You know, it's crazy, the intensity, everything about it. He's the kind of champion that we all want. You've got Melo back as him and that character that he's over his rover. And then you've got Trick, who's just been screwed by his best friend. You've got that story to finish. And, of course, to become champion as well. So, you know, even if it's... I don't think it will be a triple threat, and we'll speak about it as well. Yeah, Stand and Deliver. So. But, again, overall, this was fantastic, you know. And I think obvious 5 out of 5 for both of us for this one. But the question is, though, I mean, we should do predictions. We weren't in here. And final scores... James and Jackson on 4, Monty, Gina, perfect scores and a win. So 2 points each for both of you. So it means Jackson's on 6, I'm on 8, Gina on 10, Monty on 15. So congratulations for another win. Back-to-back perfect scores now. I think it's Rumble and Vengeance Day, so well done for that.
It's a good start. What's next? Is Deadline next or Revolution? Which one is next?
The next NXT is Roadblock, which will be like an NXT
Roadblock.
Special.
I said Deadline. I meant Roadblock.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Because again, we speak about Deadline, and Trick's performance at Deadline is one of those that's going to stick with us forever, and we are going to get a payoff at some point. One crazy thing, Monty, I will say, bonus league at the moment, you're on 15, right? And this is what, halfway through February? You are only 1 point off what was your winning score last year.
Wow. What a start. What a start, man.
Crazy, isn't it? I looked at that and I was like, you son of a bitch.
That's insane.
So anyway, we've talked about the main event, which was fantastic. And overall, Monty, what would be your... I think we'll go for main event as match. I don't think it'd be too difficult. So who's your MVP and what was your score out of 10?
Well, this one was tough, but I honestly came away from this and I just it was hard to not give it to Trick Williams. Man, he pulled a double, and like you mentioned, he came away from the last match somehow even feeling like even bigger of a babyface. You wanted to be even more in his corner after his best friend turned on him, but he also, you know, I think both matches were good matches, and they the story that he was able to still be able to tell. You know, I thought this was the biggest night in his career win, and especially if he won, but it ended up being still one of the, if not the biggest night of his career in 2 losses. You know what I mean? So I think it's rare that you can get that. Not only is it rare you get a guy who's just as popular as he was when he came out the first match, or more popular when he come out for the main event, but it's very rare that you can get a guy to go out and, you know, and end up feeling like a bigger star, and he lost both times. So yeah, man, I have to come away and give all my MVP for the night. I think at the end of the day, we're gonna look back, like you mentioned, Deadline. We'll look back at this also as another defining moment in the story of Trick Williams.
Yeah, I think my MVP, I'll go with Joe Gacy, because I know you're going to pick Trick. So I mean, Gacy just showed a little bit different. But
Yeah.
again, overall, I mean, you could have picked anybody, throughout the thing. This is the difficult. This is why I struggle for kind of out of 10 as well, because usually I don't want to give it too much, but I thought this was a great event as well. What would you score out of 10?
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't want to overrate it because we did have, it wasn't necessarily like classic perfection type of deal, but everything was good. I didn't have a problem with anything. I mean, maybe the 6-man match you could do without actually give us a tag team title match instead, but at the end of the day, I didn't have a problem with the girls getting the chance to get a spotlight. So, yeah, this was fine. This was I think my overall rating would probably end up being a 8.5 or 8.75. So yeah, 8.5 is probably where I settle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for 9. I know it's quite high, but still, I love a takeover because you sit down, it's over before you get up again. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, unlike a fucking AEW show where you're there for a couple of days,
100%.
But anyway, we'll move on because we've still got a couple of episodes of NXT. We do know, like we talked about the bonus scores as well with Monty on 15, so we have done that. So next episode of NXT, and I guess Wade was busy. I guess everybody was busy because we got Byron. Why? Why would you do that? Anyway, just like that, Mello is him. He faced the heat of the entire crowd as he opened the show. It's weird how it changes, Monty, isn't it? Like, we've seen Mello, and then all of a sudden it's just one switch. He sat down, he said this. He's changed his mind about speaking, saying not yet. What we didn't know is that the "fuck you, Mello" chants got WWE in a lot of trouble. I mean, they nearly got thrown off TV. But this is just Mello's back. This is what we spoke about.
Yeah, man. It just shows you. It's one of those times where you're like, dang, we almost got kicked off TV, but at the same time, it's like you. I know if you're Sean or you booking, you're like, we nailed it. We nailed it. You know what I mean? Because if not only does the audience feel that way, but the you know that as a viewer looking at him and his smug face, and before he doesn't even get a chance to say a word at this point. And everyone was at home. I was sitting at home, and I was like, and I think what I also saw, it was an actual urgency too online. A lot of people really wanted to see what Mello had to say for himself for doing it, and it just shows you how invested that a lot of people were in what they had going on.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Well, we get highlights of Vengeance Day, and then Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin arrived to begin the celebration. They convinced Alicia Taylor to celebrate the winners, ending it with emphatic wolf dogs from the announcers, much to the Corbin's chagrin. They called out the family, but got Nathan Frazier and Axiom instead for the opening match versus Mallet Blade and Edris Anofi. And after a tough fight, Frazier and Axiom won with a Phoenix Splash into the Golden Ratio. The family arrived after the match and accepted the challenge of the Wolf Dogs for next week. And I tell you what, if NXT aren't careful, they might start building quite a good tag team division, Monty.
Well, could you look at that? I thought it couldn't be done.
Interesting times. Ilya Dragunov headed straight into the ring, calling out Carmella Hayes. Instead, Dijak arrived. Ilya loves Trick more than Mello ever did. I think that line...
Definitely, right?
I mean, when I wrote that, I was like, my God, I'm so right. Like,
yeah.
The Mad Dragon was...
It's funny with being in a fight where he almost kills you does to a guy like Dragunov.
It is crazy. The Mad Dragon wasn't interested in Dijak until Hard Justice took the first shot. I mean, hasn't Dragunov been through enough?
That's right. Oh my goodness, man. Unprotected right to the face, mid-sentence. Couldn't even get his catchphrase out, man.
Jesus.
Oh, man, that was a stiff one.
It was announced that they would face off in the main event. Mr. Stone's
And then I was
kids.
like, oh, back to losing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dojack looked strong for one night. Mr. Stone's kids convinced their dad to team up with Von Wagner. Not weird at all. Lexis King versus Riley Osborne. Jane Ward hailed to back off from Osborne to seem hard to get. This led her staying in the back for the match. Riley Osborne was rolling until he noticed Thea Hale was not in the crowd. What are the chances?
Wow.
Distraction. Got hit by the combination. Maybe concentrate on your opponent and not the crowd. Right? Afterwards,
come on,
Osborne.
man.
Yeah, Osborne went from, "Hey, Thea, where you been?" And Hale's like, "Oh, I was backstage." And he's like, "Oh, that's fine. We're still Valentining." "Oh, okay." You fucking... Oh, my God. Anyway.
That's one of your guys, though. Come on,
I know. Bring a bad name. "Oh, my gosh. I'd make you a cup of tea." Lana Jordan talked about her rise to success. Where? Did we miss it? Kiana James and Izzy Dane made fun of her and bullied Kalani's friend, Brinley Reese, in the locker room. Fucking hell. When did that happen? She'll turn on her once she eliminates her from a battle royal. Carmella Hayes finally decided the time was right to talk, and he headed back to the ring with a single spotlight on his back. Hayes made it clear he viewed Trick as a hype man and a sidekick, but when Williams tried to jump in line for an NXT Championship, it became personal and led to Mello's decision to take out his best friend. Hayes then pulled a classic heel trick of playing Trick's music before telling everybody he was in the hospital with Booker T. And I don't know what was worse, playing Trick's music and getting the crowd, or that line about Booker.
Oh, the Booker T
that's
line.
low, Mello. That's fucking low.
I loved it, man, because, like, I knew that he was probably going to go the whole "you were just a sidekick" route. But you know what? This is when I really realized that I was very invested. And I saw, like, people online were also like, see, man, he really just dirty. You know, but, like, that's my point, man. It's just when he said the stuff, like, I knew he was probably going to go that route, but to hear him say it in the conviction and the way he said it and the mentioning Booker, it's just like, oh my goodness. He really went for it. And I didn't think it would hurt that bad because I expected it, but it still hurt. So it just shows the investment, I think, again, that we all had in these guys. So to hear him talk like that, it was insane.
And the funny thing as well, people may be watching for the past couple of months and going, "Who is this Mello?" And it's like, this is him. This is the guy who
exactly
pulled NXT 2.0 out of the gutter and ran with it. Yeah. Bron Breakker, to his credit, don't get me wrong.
Right, yeah, he's there too, but man,
you and I came back for Mello every week, there's no doubt. Roxanne Perez beat Lola Vice thanks to Tatum Paxley. I tell you what, Tatum Paxley has been featured in every single moment on this update. I think that's the most popular name so far. Good, I'm glad. Noam Dar and Aura Mensah accepted a match versus Von Stone, as I'm going to call him now. I think that would be the best name. No quarter catch crew challenges Scott to put his heritage couple line. Dar wasn't interested. He wants to wrestle like the family. Lash Legend and Jakira Jackson versus Fallon Henley and Ren Sinclair. Fallon Henley looked dominant, but Sinclair didn't. She fell to Lash Legend's powerbomb. In the locker room, Josh Briggs gave Brooks Jensen a reality check. Now, Monty, I understand if you were to say to me, like, "Look, I don't want to do this pod," but to come the next week and go, "You're still not doing this pod with me, you fucking loser." I mean, I'm not a fan of Jensen, but I kind of felt bad.
Oh my goodness! But I thought that was the best. This is actually the best Briggs segment of the entire. No, like, I loved it. I loved every second of it because I was like, yeah, I wish he would get over it because his partner got over his ass really fast. So I mean, it's about time he catch up, please. But yeah, man, this you're 100% right. So it's like, oh my goodness, what are you? You just like a sad puppy. So after a while, you know, it's like a sad puppy.
Fucking unbelievable. Jada Parker convinced NXT General Manager Ava to give a shot at Adriana Rizzo next week. Rich Holland also got a shot at Gallus. Side note, not funny, Ava had to quit X because people were sending her death threats.
Idiots.
What, I mean,
Come on, man.
Are you death threats? Are you fucking arseholes? I mean, you are obviously arseholes. But
Obviously,
it's
yeah.
just
Something she has nothing to do with, man.
Yeah,
nothing to do
it's
with
wrestling, man. Monty, I love wrestling. You love it, but it's a storyline. There's nothing. Why actually send? And if they go, oh, we didn't, we just sent a death threats. We weren't going to do it. That's horrible.
Oh, so
Think
so
about
when Edge slapped John Cena's father in his house, I should have just went nuclear or something and tried to fight. Like, come on, man. Like, it's television, bro. Like, do you understand that? And then, like you said, that's insane. It's insane to actually go to someone who has, yes, that's his daughter. All right, so what? What did you think that was gonna do anyway? That's another thing. Like, you just using the Cody situation to be a dick. That's really all it was. Like, that's the only way you can explain it, because it was not like talking to her that way was gonna change any damn thing. Like, I don't understand it, man. I never understand these internet. They get behind a computer screen and they can just they just think they can do it and say whatever they want to people. It's a damn shame, man. They make us look bad, because unfortunately on the outside looking in, wrestling fans get lumped together and they make us look bad because it's not that big a deal, man.
Nah, this is the thing, and one of the reasons why I always start the pod with my name is the accountability. Anything I say, I'm completely behind it. And it's exactly the thing. If it's a joke, or if it is, and if I'm serious, I'll be serious. And with those type of things, well, I don't want anybody doing that to be listening to this show or to have any contact with us whatsoever.
At all. Yeah, stay away from me.
I would literally do what Dijak did with Ilya Dragunov. And I'm not a violent person, but I would. Speaking of which, it's our main event. What segue? Ilya versus Dijak. We get a thank you Ava chance starting near the end of this brutal battle. There you go. This is a lot better. Nice. Dijak hit an impressive springboard elbow drop, but could not get the pin due to the elbow injury he suffered at Vengeance Day. Joe Gacy ruined it for Hard Justice, popping out under. This should have been ridiculous, and it was. But I was just like, it kind of works with a boxing glove and hitting Dijak. And you're thinking, you go for the most stupid move we see to an H-bomb. Which, again, I don't, the kind of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The comparisons between the two. Unbelievable. Ilya gets a win, but then Carmella Hayes caught Dragunov for a chop block and stood over the NXT champion with his gold. So the same move he did with Trick, showing that he wants the title. Yeah, I'm in. Give it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes. 100%. Give it to me. First of all, we thought some of their matches that they had while Melo was still kind of being a babyface were going to be, we thought they were incredible. So just imagine now with a new Vicious or a new just like hateful element, added element to it. Because again, we talked about it. He beat the hell out of Trick and they like each other. So Dragunov is going to be going for blood. And then you got Melo, who is going to be trying to do everything he can to try to screw Dragunov out of the spot. And then you have the looming possibility of maybe the winner gets a Trick, or maybe because like it's not necessarily a done deal that Dragunov survives it, because we know that maybe they want to add. We know we're going to get Melo and Trick probably at Stand and Deliver, but maybe you want to put the title there. I don't know. Maybe you do. So it's definitely an added element. I'm ready.
I'm literally getting goosebumps just thinking about Trick's response. When he finally returned. That crowd is going to be electric. Like, I cannot wait for everything that we've got. We've got a last NXT, which was February 13th, with Wagner and Stone attacking Metaphor backstage and dragging Dar Mensah to the ring. Stone's sons are getting creepier every week. Like, I don't say it's a shining thing, but like at first, though, I'm going, yeah, this is cute. And then, and then they're going, fight him, Daddy. Fight him with everything you have, Daddy. And it's just a bit fucking weird, And Von Wagner looked great in parts, but it was Jackson, a legend, who played the difference makers. They distracted the ref to allow Aura Mensah to hit Von Wagner with a chop block, one of the most used moves in NXT recently, to set up a cheap pinfall victory. What is the point of Von and Stone? I mean, Dijak wins more often. Like, literally, Von hasn't won since April.
I have no clue. The funniest thing about what you said about the kids is that was literally basically what I wrote down for notes. I was like, cute kids, and I just left it alone. I don't really like. It is what it is. Cool to see Stone wrestling again. Are they going to lean into this more? But I don't really care if they decide to or not.
I mean, I do not want to see a custody of Mr. Stone's fucking children's
Oh,
match
please don't.
or anything like that. JC Jane paid off Chase U debt as RJ Chase brought back together his classroom for the spring semester. So we're moving on. Fresh start. No problems whatsoever. We get a gauntlet match. Ridge Holland versus Gallus. Ridge Holland hit the Northern Grit in picture and Wolfgang to pick up the victory. Joe Coffey attacked Holland while Mark Coffey was the legal man, causing a DQ. Gallus tried to press the attack, but Holland knocked out all three with a steel chair. Officials had to stop him, and he couldn't even believe what he'd done. Sean must hate Gallus. That's the only answer.
See, that's what I was trying to tell you. I'm like, I don't know how much, like you said, he watched, and they got there, and he was like, man, I thought you guys were bigger. And now he's just like, well,
fuck you guys.
Right, one man can take you down.
Yeah, we don't need the rest of the brutes. We've just got one. Like, he's going to beat you.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was during this match I realised Vic wasn't alone and was joined by Byron again. That's how nondescript. I'm like, oh, Byron, you are there. My God.
It's not found a Byron because you go to guys like Barrett and Booker, like two of the most.
I know.
Like their personality oozes through the microphone, and you got Byron who he's just there.
To be fair, he might be a relation to like the bloodline, considering the amount of different jobs that he has had. Like, I'm just saying.
That's a good point.
He's done a lot. As you mentioned earlier, Alexis King can't get involved in enough feuds. This time with Von Wagner and Stone.
We need that. Yeah, we would love to have them two fighting. Sure.
No quarter catch club. As they're now, they're club, not crew. Sure.
Okay.
They won Dar. They were coming for the Heritage Cup.
Which one?
Again, I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but there is only one, as you know, and you're mocking me for that. Anyway, Lola Vice beat Tatum Paxley by submission, but Valkyrie ran out to encourage Paxley to keep fighting as things started to go bad. And after Paxley lost, Lyra carried her to the back. And I do like this because, again, it's like, oh, she was there, and I know she's crazy, but I've had girlfriends like this. Do you know what I mean? Just carry her home. Like...
Right. Tuck her in, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I know exactly what you mean. She's completely nuts, but, you just want to take care of her.
Exactly. Look what you've done. And, again, this is a relationship that started off with Lyra not wanting anything to do with her, and now realising actually Tatum does care. So, where can we go with this?
Out of her mind, man. Yeah. Can't wait to see where we go next.
It was also confirmed that Shotzi and Lyra will face each other next week. We know how that one turns out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rizzo promised the family that she had a fight handled. Luca Crucifino, who I said to you was going to be the family's fucking lawyer. I literally said this last breakout tournament.
Took one look at him, and you had them all figured out.
Yeah. I was like, that's your pan, bud. Speaking of Adriana Rizzo, she faced Jada Parker. My God, this was bad. But again, this is why it shows I'm a true fan of women's wrestling. Parker took her down with a clothesline for the win. Dijak, back in his office, stared at the film from last week, continued angry, slammed down his tablet shut. We then had Carmella Hayes versus
what did he decide to do next? Go ahead.
Dijak's got a bag. We wonder what's going to happen. Joe Gacy's entrance continued to evolve as the camera made me feel sick.
Why?
Being filmed upside down and then flipped.
Why?
There's no point.
Why did they do this, man?
I know. I mean,
I had a couple cocktails when I seen it for the first time. Like, what the hell is going on?
The match
Thought I was
wasn't
losing
easy.
my mind.
Yeah, the match wasn't easy for me after that. But neither was for Mello, but he managed to put Gacy away. After the finish, Hard Justice beat down Gacy and, well, I'd say put him in a straitjacket. Joe pretty much helped himself. I'm not going to lie, but we understand the concept going
We
on.
get it.
Know? We haven't got a lot of time, guys, all right? You need to get your arms in. Reese tried to prepare for a match alongside Carmen Petrovic and Kalana Jordan, but Lash Legend and Jackson arrived to mock all three women. That's their two jobs, isn't it? They're just going backstage, and anybody talking is just like, fuck you guys. What are you talking about? Roxanne Perez complained about Shotzi getting a title shot. Ren Sinclair tried to calm her down, and Prodigy was just like,
which
who
was
are you?
stupid, by the way.
Punched her in the face. Like,
Yeah, just shut up.
Yeah, I know Perez got an attitude adjustment, but I mean, come on. Like, even
Right.
Ava was like, you can't go around just punching people. Like, it's not on. You know?
Mind your business, please.
Yeah.
Even though she is talking out to no one, by the way. Like, if you weren't talking to Reed, who the hell were you talking to?
It's what happens backstage, just talking to the camera. Speaking of that, Obafemi, how fucking worried was he about walking into the cameraman? Do you know what I mean? That shot. It's not as easy as it looks, is it? Look at the camera, look ahead, but make sure you don't trip up.
Oh my goodness.
Another mysterious video package airing, talking about the evil of human nature, echoing a phrase of philosopher Zunzi. Obafemi put over Dragon Lee as a worthy challenger who was no match for his destiny. Lexis King, again, he's only done like 5 things on this update. He challenged Obafemi and the champion agreed for next week. King tried to lay out Femi but got sent reeling by the champion. One of my favourite, I think my favourite thing ever from Brooks Jensen, going to Josh Briggs and going, hey Josh, oh, you said I got to grow some balls? And he's like, that was last week. He's like, yeah, motherfucker. He just...
Was I the only one who was like, yo, you really did not, this is what you call taking his advice?
So much fun.
Oh my goodness.
We will get that match on the next update. We then had Kiana James beating Brindley Reese. We then see Mallet Blades and Isha Sanofi arguing over how to comfort Reese after a loss, and she was annoying. I would say. Coming like,
can't help
oh
herself.
yeah, that's perfectly fine. You learn from losing all the time, you know.
And
finally, NXT Tag Team Championships, the family versus the Wolf Dogs. Baron Corbin tried to get Bron focused for their match. Of course, Bron's got a lot on his mind, promising to call the team the Wolf Dogs once if they won. We see clothesline after clothesline sent everyone to the floor. Tony D sent Corbin into the steel steps. Then the family sent Breaker through the announce table. Baron Corbin, though, was flying around the ring to save this match. You could tell he had not held a title in 6 years. And it paid off as he set up Bron Breakker to spear Channing Stacks Lorenzo for the victory to your new NXT Tag Team Champions, the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker. So, yes, it means you're winners of the Dushty Classic final, which we have been following through the update. That's the thread. Has paid off with the new tag team champions. It's almost like we planned it. Monty, what was your thought on this matchup?
Yeah, man, this was good stuff, man. I think, I did come away from it at the end after watching, like you mentioned, Corbin wrestling his butt off, trying to finally win one, and and Breaker getting the pin there. It was solid stuff, solid contest. Didn't have much problem with the stuff, even though this probably, I don't know if this was the, probably safe to say this is probably one of the best matches of the defense that we've seen, because they didn't really defend it much. So this is they didn't really do much. But this is I can't be mad at it. But like we mentioned, it was interesting to see this match happen the way it did. Not that I expected the family to win, but it reminded me earlier in the night, I believe, or the week before. I think it was early in the night. They said Wizard was going to get in contact with the family about giving Chase you a title shot. And I'm just like, yeah, well, You're gonna have to contact Braun now. So we'll see how that goes. It was interesting. The only thing that kind of had this in doubt for me was because I knew Braun was negotiating, and I know at this point that it wasn't official, but I know now we know that I think he'll be on Friday. But I think with the way Melo, Dragon Lee, and Braun Breaker now have been on NXT, being on SmackDown pretty much means you're still on NXT at this point. So I can't wait to see what happens now with them as champions. It's been a fun ride, and the chase is over. Now it's about how convincing and how much of a tag team will they be going forward. Is this something that ends after Stand and Deliver? Is this something that they carry on, like you said, to the main roster together? Like, what happens going forward is really interesting to see. Or do they use them to build the actual, like we mentioned before, build a tag division around them for now, and then they go their separate ways, or then we let them go to the main roster. We'll see how this happens, but this is a good and the right move, because we mentioned this plenty of times. The tag team titles are basically get held hostage.
Without doubt. But like you said, I think really, really good stuff. Before we look towards the future, let's just look back on this update. And as I asked you on everyone as well, what were your thoughts on NXT? Because I think, heading into Stand and Deliver, like we say, they've set the stall, and we've got the biggest story we've had in NXT. We could argue this is the biggest story in NXT we've had in a good couple of years. Maybe even the Undisputed Era split. Do you know what I mean?
I was just about to say, probably, since Undisputed Era, or you can make the case that it's probably the biggest post-pandemic NXT story by far, easily. Yeah, so it's been some of the best stuff that they've done. Some of the best storytelling week to week for something that I talked about when they kind of started to plant the seed that Melo and Trick would be done. I was wondering. I remember I told you when they kept going with the videotape and who did it and all that type of stuff. How long can they keep it going? They kept it going and kept it interesting for a while, and so I got to give them credit for continuing to, still give us a compelling story even as time went on, and you could, definitely lose the plot, like we mentioned with the Chase U story that took them ages to tell us just for us to get the payoff of basically nothing's different. So, and vice versa in this situation, the opposite end of that spectrum, we got a pretty good payoff. And we still have an interesting title picture, probably an even more world title picture because of it. So, yeah, man, I really am impressed with that. That's definitely a highlight. And I just want to say that NXT, from what I've seen people talking about as far as enjoyability, not saying the best wrestling all the time, not saying that it has the biggest stars in wrestling, but NXT, in my opinion, and from what I've been seeing online, it has probably been the most consistently enjoyable product in wrestling for at least throughout the new year now for a while, in my opinion. Maybe AEW has been doing a lot better, so I'm not going to act like some of their product has not been great, especially from a wrestling standpoint. But when you're just talking about week to week, story by story, and just interesting, compelling stuff, yes, some of it is ridiculous, but it's something about NXT charm that make ridiculous work. You know what I'm saying? And I would say, at least for the WWE product, if you compare it to Raw and SmackDown, it's been some of the best stuff WWE has put together all year.
Yeah. And NXT, I've always loved NXT. It's easy, digestible. Like I said,
right.
Even with a 2-hour show, it's so much fun to kind of get through. And another thing, again, I don't want to go too long, but compare Trick and Mello to the Devil storyline that we had in AEW, because both were going at the same time. And now look at the payoff between the two.
100%. I agree.
It's just this thing. Anyway, finally, what I wanted to do, and again, not spend too much time, but Monty, I've got lots on my hands sometimes, so I'll come up with a dream Stand and Deliver card. All right, you can tell me to fuck off if you want, but this is what I've come up with in my mind. So first off, we've got family versus wolf dogs. I was thinking maybe a steel cage match, and then it kind of turns into a bloodbath, and maybe get their canvas off the ring and stuff like that. Maybe Sean's seen something like that before. Not sure. All of that like dog collar or something like this. I don't mind that. Heritage Cup, Noam Dar, Charlie Dempsey. I alluded to it earlier. That's the match to make, isn't it? That would be the one people go, oh, hang on a minute.
That Damon Kemp? Not Kim? Okay. I'm just playing.
Roxanne versus Lyra. Again, maybe some sort of stipulation, but, an actual proper match between two. 6-man ladder for North American. Oba, stick King in there. Dijak, Gacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe a couple others as well. Obviously, Trick versus Mello. No disqualification. And then Ilya versus the debuting Kazuchika Okada. Don't think that's going to happen. What do you think of that card play?
You can't drop that. That last match cannot be dropped so casual. Of course, that's an awesome card, man. You can't go wrong with that. Definitely. But yeah, no, you can't drop that last match like it's just a casual match. But yeah, man, that would be an incredible way to kick off basically the big shows for WrestleMania weekend. I will not be opposed to that at all. It's really, 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 really interesting. I think we might be leaning more towards a multi-man match for the tag titles, but we'll see. But yeah, man, the ladder match for the North American, all that stuff, that sounds like a really fun card, and I honestly, I just can't wait to see what they decide to do. They've been using so many women that I'll be shocked if we only get one women's match.
Yeah,
or they'll probably be involved.
I'm set my ways, Monty.
In some
I'm sorry.
way. But
my apologies.
Right. But I'm just saying, with all these random women you've been debuting, I would like to think you won't just have only
random woman battle royal at a takeover.
Right.
Just like
exactly.
Here comes Sarah Shaw. Here comes Gazelle Couture.
Right.
I think
but yeah,
the only question,
that's a great card, though. It's a great card.
Thank you very much. But I think the only main question, again, I'm pretty sure your card would be pretty close to that one. It is just, for me, what Ilya Dragunov does at Stand and Deliver.
That is that's the big conundrum. Yeah. Like, where do you go there? Where do you go? Do you do a Braun Breaker and go to the main roster if you can't secure Okada or someone outside? Like, it's very, very interesting the many different ways they can decide to go, because Dragunov is like a Swiss Army knife. You can really make him be compelling against plenty of people. So I don't know. Right now, that's the biggest question mark. Like, how do you feel that void? Is it going to be him involved with Mello and Trick? I really don't think so, but I'm really into it. Like, I want to know, because I feel like Mello and Trick deserves it. One-on-one, straight up grudge match. Yeah, whatever it is. Or, maybe they might street fight that. You never even know. Something like that. But yeah.
If they do a triple threat at Stand and Deliver, and then maybe a blow off for Trick and Mello, but what we don't want is what happened with like Ciampa and Gargano, where it just never fucking ended.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you never get it complete. You definitely want a resolute who's better than who, probably, in my opinion, I think the right move is to have Mello putting over a Trick. But yeah, man, I can't wait to see what they decide to do. But I think what you laid out there is awesome. It's just, like you said, who do NXT lean on, in my opinion, because I feel like Dragunov, he's so consistent. You're gonna get a good match almost anyway. But it'd be nice to see. It'd be nice. But I think that's next update. Once we get past Roadblock, maybe that vision will be a little bit clearer of who's in that picture to fight a guy like a Dragunov. Or, is he still involved with the Mello and Trick mess? We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the perfect thing about an update is, again, like I said, it could all change by the time we do Roadblock next month. Who knows?
And the way the injury bug going around, please keep all the main players as healthy as we can get it.
Don't let Wrestle Ridge. Like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yes,
man.
But again, like you said, you are absolutely right. But it's been a fun update this month, and that is it. Don't forget, across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR JR, and you can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. Monty, where can people find and listen to you?
You can find me on Twitter at MyMontyPod. The latest podcast is still in development. A lot of things changed with my schedule, so I would love to talk about the latest news with AEW's Big Business show, the New Japan thing. But honestly, I think it'll actually be better suited for next week when New Beginning and all of that takes place. So like I said, I will be putting it out. Just keep your eyes on my Twitter, the next episode, and I will try to cover as much of the stuff that I have missed the last few weeks. But yeah, man, at Monty Pod, check me out, or type in Monty on YouTube and click those links and subscribe.
Perfect. The Dublin also on Facebook and Instagram across all Google platforms. Send us an email to dublinpodcast@gmail.com and YouTube at Dublin Podcast, where we'll latest clips and podcasts go at the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate and review there. So that is it. Our next episode, I'm hoping it's going to be TNA. All right. I know I said this last time, but to get the time, Monty, you will know this, to find the time to do that. Because at least when there's another person, you have to kind of... But when it's just you, you know, like...
Yes.
I don't really want to listen to myself.
Man.
So yeah. But definitely, next weekend, I say definitely, I'm hopefully next Sunday, hoping to review the Elimination Chamber. Because it's going to be a weird time on Saturday morning, wherever it is. That should give enough time to review that Sunday. I'm hoping... We'll speak to the girls. If it doesn't happen, it's their fault, people listening. All right? Until then, I've been James Rowlands and always joined by the mind of Monty. Monty, it is always a pleasure and never a chore to do an NXT update and catch right up with NXT.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. Right back at you, and I can't wait for the next one.
Perfect. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.